Fantasy football is changing. Wide receivers are now dominating draft boards in a way they never have in the past. So it's important when you're on the clock ready to take a wide receiver that you take the best one. Luckily for you, I went through ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper's ADP, and I have identified the best wide receiver you can take in every round on each site. If you can't wait to start drafting fantasy football teams, you don't have to. Underdog Fantasy has drafts going on all offseason with tons of unique and fun formats. Not to mention their flagship Best Ball Mania 5, where one lucky winner will become a millionaire. Plus, they already have pick'em lines ready for week 1 of the NFL season, and their new streak format where you can win 1,000 times your entry. Just go to UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up using promo code ENDGAME to get a special pick'em that you can't get anywhere else, plus up to $250 in bonus cash. And in round 1, no shock here if you've watched me at all this offseason, it's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Typically goes in the middle of the first round on every site. I think he's the guy that I want in the first round if I don't have a very early pick. This is a guy I've talked about it multiple times, has legit wide receiver 1, and I mean the overall number 1 wide receiver upside. So if I can get Amon-Ra St. Brown in the middle of the first round or even a little bit later in my fantasy drafts in round 1, I'm doing it. Now on ESPN and Yahoo in round 2, I'm going with Garrett Wilson. I think we're going to finally see year 3 Garrett Wilson break out, show his ceiling, show his potential. All it really requires is Aaron Rodgers to stay healthy all season long. They've bolstered the offensive line. They have a great defense that's going to give the Jets more opportunities on offense. Garrett Wilson is a fantastic player entering year 3. I think he breaks out and has his best season ever. So in round 2 on ESPN and Yahoo, give me Garrett Wilson. On Sleeper, I'm going to go Chris Olave. Garrett Wilson on Sleeper goes a bit earlier. He usually goes late first round. But I like Chris Olave. Kind of goes in the middle of the second round on Sleeper. I also think year 3 Chris Olave also going to have his best season ever. I like that they replaced the offensive coordinator with Clint Kubiak. This offense is going to be so much different than what we saw last year. Not this plain vanilla boring offense. They're going to use more pre-snap motion, more play action. The passing game is going to be better. Chris Olave, the clear-cut, unquestioned number 1 target in this offense. I'll happily take him in the second round on Sleeper. Now in the third round on ESPN, I'm going to go with rookie Marvin Harrison Jr. He typically goes early second round on the other site, so getting him in the third round feels like a great steal to me. This is a guy, a generational talent at wide receiver, attached to Kyler Murray in what is going to be a very good fantasy-friendly offense. I have no problem taking rookie Marvin Harrison Jr. in the third round. Now on Yahoo, this is where Chris Olave goes. I mean, I was fine taking him in the second round on Sleeper. In the third round on Yahoo, oh yeah, this is like a must draft. And then another must draft in the third round on Sleeper is Jalen Waddle. I think Jalen Waddle is being slept on this year. I think we could see him be close to what we saw in year 2, maybe even better than what we saw in year 2. I know Tyreek Hill is still there, but look, 2 years ago, Tyreek Hill over 1,700 yards. Jalen Waddle had almost 1,400 yards and 8 touchdowns, and he was like the wide receiver 10 on the year, I think it was. He's got upside in this offense. As long as he's healthy, he can help you win weeks. In the third round, I will gladly take Jalen Waddle. Now in round 4 on ESPN, I'm taking the value on Drake London here. Again, this is a guy going in the second round on almost every other fantasy site, and you're getting him in round 4 on ESPN. Look, I'm not quite as high on Drake London this year as a lot of people. I think Drake London is certainly going to be good, and there's a path for Drake London to be absolutely great. But in the fourth round, all the risk is taken out here. He's got Kirk Cousins, no more Arthur Smith, got the passing game coordinator from the Rams as the offensive coordinator. Drake London, also going into year 3, has everything around him to absolutely break out this year. Getting him in the fourth round, easy pick. And then in round 4 on Yahoo, this is where Jalen Waddle goes on Yahoo. Yeah, give me Jalen Waddle in the fourth round all day. I already talked about him in the third. In the fourth, like stealing. And then on Sleeper in the fourth round, I'm going to take Devonta Smith. I think this is another guy kind of being slept on because he wasn't great last year. He wasn't bad by any stretch, but he wasn't great. He's got A.J. Brown there, and the Eagles offense did kind of sputter down the stretch, but I expect this Eagles offense to be much better. New OC, Kellen Moore, going to move these guys around the formation, going to put Devonta Smith in the slot more. I think Devonta Smith also in store for his biggest year this year, so getting him in the fourth round on Sleeper, gladly. Now round 5 on ESPN, Jalen Waddle? Really? Jalen Waddle is a 5th round pick on ESPN? I mean, come on, you know what to do here. Devonta Smith, also a 5th round pick on Yahoo. Liked him in the 4th, you know I'm going to love him in the 5th. And then on Sleeper in the 5th round, I'm going with second-year wide receiver Zay Flowers of the Baltimore Ravens. Had an up and down rookie year, but guess what? He's a rookie. That's kind of what rookies do. Now going into year 2, he'll certainly get better. He's got Lamar Jackson. He's in a good offense. Really, they didn't do anything to worry me as far as competition for targets here. I think he's going to be the clear number one target in this offense. So in the 5th round, love that kind of upside. Now in round 6 on ESPN and Yahoo, you can get Zay Flowers here, so take him. On Sleeper in round 6, I'm going with Terry McLaurin of the Washington Commanders. Look, this guy, his whole career has pretty much been like, oh, come on, there's so much meat left on the bone. But I think this year, there will be no meat left on the bone, or very little. I think we're also going to see the best Terry McLaurin we've ever seen. This is a guy who left so many yards on the field. Well, I shouldn't say he did. Sam Howell left so many yards on the field for Terry McLaurin last year. Over 800 unrealized air yards. Jaden Daniels, if nothing else, is a great deep ball passer. Imagine if Terry McLaurin gets 200, 300, 400 of those 800 unrealized air yards this year. What kind of season he's going to have. And you can get him in round 6, take it. Now in round 7 on ESPN, I'm going with Amari Cooper. I know he's kind of been linked to maybe getting traded to the 49ers, but doesn't matter whether he's in Cleveland, whether he's in San Francisco. Round 7, Amari Cooper, tons of upside here. Sure, he's volatile, but you know what? A lot of wide receivers in this range are volatile. Not many have the upside of Amari Cooper. In round 7, feels like a bargain. Now round 7 on Yahoo, this is where you can get Terry McLaurin. So yeah, give me Terry McLaurin on Yahoo in round 7 all day long. Now round 7 on Sleeper, I'm taking Hollywood Brown here. I know there's a lot of people down on Hollywood Brown this year. And sure, look, the last 2 years have been rough. Injury, lack of production, but he's on the Chiefs. He's got Patrick Mahomes. They're already raving about him. I know he's got competition from Rashee Rice. I know he's got competition from Travis Kelce. I know he's got competition from Xavier Worthy, but I don't think it's going to matter in this offense. I keep saying I think Patrick Mahomes could legit go 45 to 50 touchdowns this year, 5,000 passing yards, and if he does, there's enough here for everybody. So give me what could be the Chiefs wide receiver 1 in round 7 on Sleeper. Do you want to win your fantasy league but don't have time to do all the research? Are you tired of drafting mediocre teams and then having to constantly hope you hit it big on the waiver wire just to compete? Do you wish you could have a fantasy expert like Pierre or myself with you while you draft? Well, now you can. With our app Draft Lane and our live draft pilot, we will guide you through every pick of your draft and tell you exactly which players we would pick if we were on the clock. Our proprietary algorithm will take into account your league settings, scoring, and roster requirements to identify the best picks every time you are on the clock to ensure you have a winning team from week 1. It's the closest thing you can get to having us there drafting with you. Get the biggest edge in fantasy football. Just go to your app store and search for Draft Lane and download it today and get ready to dominate your draft. In round 8 on ESPN, I've been talking up Chris Godwin all offseason. If I can get Chris Godwin in round 8, that is an absolute smash for me. I've talked about it. If you haven't heard me talk about it, the last 5 years, 4 of those years, over 50% of his snaps were taken in the slot. And each of those 4 years, he was very, very good on a per game basis, other than the year where he was coming back from ACL, of course. Then you look last year, only 32% of the snaps from the slot. Had a down year, but they're already talking about the new OC, head coach Todd Bowles, saying we got to get him back into slot. We're going to see over 50% of the snaps from the slot again. I think Chris Godwin bounces back in a big way this year, so getting him in round 8 is great. And then round 8 on Yahoo, this is where you can get Hollywood Brown, so take Hollywood Brown in round 8 if you can. And then round 8 on Sleeper, another guy I've been talking up all offseason, Deontay Johnson, ever since he went to this Carolina Panthers offense. I know a lot of people are nervous because, Carolina was so bad last year, and I totally get that. But look at what Carolina has done this offseason. First of all, they brought in a true number 1 wide receiver who's still in the prime of his career, Deontay Johnson. Number 2, they still have the number 1 pick from last year, Bryce Young. And number 3, most importantly, Dave Canales coming over from Tampa Bay. 2 years ago, he was with Seattle, revived Geno Smith. Last year, revived Baker Mayfield. I think he can revive the number 1 pick from a year ago, Bryce Young. Deontay Johnson could be one of the league leaders in targets this year. Volume alone is going to make him a stud, and you're getting him in round 8. Now, round 9 on ESPN and Yahoo, this is where you can get Deontay Johnson, so do it. I will say, on ESPN in round 9, I like all the wide receivers going in round 9. So if you don't get Deontay Johnson, just take one of the other ones. They'll all be good. Round 9 on a Sleeper, I'm going with Christian Watson. I know, it's terrifying drafting Christian Watson. Like, will he miss the whole season? Will he play a game? Will he be out there and leave the game early? It's always a roller coaster with Christian Watson, but he's working hard in the offseason to balance out those hamstrings. Will it work? Time will tell. But if it does and he can stay healthy, this guy has incredible upside for a round 9 pick. I mean, we've seen this guy win week after week after week when he's fully healthy. So I'm willing to take the gamble in round 9 that Christian Watson can stay healthy this year. Give me Watson in round 9 on Sleeper. Now on round 10 on ESPN, somehow we find Hollywood Brown here. I mean, do I even need to explain this? Round 10 on Yahoo, this is where Christian Watson goes, even less of a risk in round 10. Then in round 10 on Sleeper, I'm coming around on Jameson Williams. This is a guy I thought was a little overhyped as a rookie. Got suspended last year, wasn't on him at all, but I'm starting to buy into Jameson Williams because we're hearing good talk from Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is one of these guys that tells you exactly what is happening. He's not one of these misdirection coaches that says one thing and means another. He's talking up Jameson Williams. They're going to get him more involved. Yeah, he's not going to be a target monster. That's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown, but he's got the kind of weekly spike weeks and upside you want in a late round pick. So on Sleeper, in round 10, I'll take Jameson Williams. Now, round 11 on ESPN, this is where you can get Jameson Williams. Definitely take him here. On Yahoo, I'm going to go with second-year wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. This is another guy I think ready to break out in year 2. Did not have a great rookie season, but look, Pete Carroll is gone. New coaching staff in here. They're going to want to get him more involved. Tyler Lockett, getting up there in age, did not look as good last year. I think we see JSN take over that number 2 role, and you're getting him in round 11. Well worth it. And then on Sleeper, we're getting slim pickings here, but I like Khalil Shakir of the Buffalo Bills. We've seen this guy in stretches be productive. Now he's entering year 3. That's usually a good year where wide receivers start to figure it out, and he doesn't really have a lot of competition here. Obviously, we know Stephon Diggs is gone. They replaced him with rookie Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel. You got a couple tight ends. I mean, I think Khalil Shakir can have some nice games this year, maybe have a nice season. He might not be the kind of guy you want to put in your lineup every single week, but it's round 11. He'll be great as a bye week fill-in if you need him. So grab Shakir in round 11 if you're going wide receiver on Sleeper. And then finally, round 12, let's end with one guy I keep talking about relentlessly this offseason, Rashid Shaheed of the New Orleans Saints. I talked about it with Chris Olave. This is going to be a different Saints offense. More play action, more pre-snap motion, a better passing attack. And there's no clear number 2 wide receiver here outside of Rashid Shaheed because Michael Thomas is gone, who for some reason was acting as the number 2 wide receiver last year. Shaheed played less than 50% of the snaps last year, had 700 yards and 5 touchdowns. If he's going to be the number 2 wide receiver, he's going to be more like 70, 80% of the snaps. I mean, he legit has a shot to go 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. Not saying he's going to, but if he can do 705 on less than 50% of the snaps, he can do that on 70, 80% of the snaps. And if he doesn't, oh well, it's your round 12 pick. But Shaheed has the potential to be a league-winning wide receiver that you get in round 12. I'm taking him on every site. So there you go. Those are my favorite picks at wide receiver on ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper. But guess what? I also did this for running backs. So if you want to know who the best running backs you could pick on each site are, you can find out in this video right here.